It's not Sunday night, so I can't watch the wee lassie.
Eileen is not enjoying this season
of Outlander.
We did not watch this Sunday's episode yet.
It was a good one. It was a good one. What's not to like?
She got this episode and next week's episode as screeners and didn't watch them.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man, I resubscribed to Stars just to watch my Jamie in real time.
Jamie, I'm not drinking anything.
I'm not either. I'm gonna get a water.
We can just skip that to this week.
Okay.
Whoa.
It's
Fancy.
still water. It's still water.
I can't believe Colin Ferguson plays Penguin in Outlander.
And that's what I thought people were joking about. And then I realized they were talking about the Batman. I haven't seen the Batman.
It's got the Batman in it.
Yeah.
And it's got...
Oh, is that why people were saying that they were annoyed? Well, hold on. I'm supposed to talk on this microphone from the front, right? Yeah, like this, right?
Side address, right?
But it's not like this side. It's like I talk at the front of the microphone, not at the top of the microphone.
Correct. Okay. Not top address, side address.
So I sound good now, right?
Yeah, you sound really good.
Okay, great.
Ooh, that reminds me, I need to do my backup recording.
Okay. Ryan, are you sticking around? Are you sticking around? No? Okay. Because we're starting recording now and you're making a lot of noise in the background. You are making noise. You are. You are a little bit. A little bit. A little bit. Thanks. Thanks. Thanks so much. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Hi, Ryan.
Bye-bye. Okay. All right. Sneaking around the corner. Stop sneaking around the corner. Tom says hi. Trike says hi. Tamahoma asks if you're a big reader. Are you a big reader? Are you a big reader? Are you a big listener? He reads. He says, yeah, I read.
I read things.
Okay, good. He's listening to his audiobook, so that's why he can't.
Yeah, he's a
me.
reader. I could answer that.
Yeah. Okay.
Old man. He reads.
Now I feel like this is too tall. Maybe it should just be on the table. And then it's more top dress.
I got a lovely
I feel short.
leather desktop mat.
Oh, yeah?
It's wonderful.
That's nice. For, what do you mean? For like sitting?
Mm-hmm. It's on the desktop, so I have my keyboard and everything is on it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think I'm ready for a podcast.
Then, let's do it.
Excuse me.
You're welcome.
I'm so sorry. I got these new Beats headphones I'm going to try.
Ooh. Like
Beats AirPods.
These?
No. Well, like
similar
like
to
the
these?
AirPod Pro version, I guess. Like these.
Oh, okay.
I haven't tried them yet. These little guys.
Oh, yeah. They're more like the AirPod. I have the Beats Fit.
What are those about?
They have the little dingly thing on the end to try to keep them in your ears better. Although the AirPods Pro don't fall off my ears. I just wanted to try them.
I've been having that trouble lately. These are starting to and I keep hitting the side and then Siri turns on and then it turns off all the other audio and then no one can hear me.
I actually changed it so that didn't activate Siri anymore. You can change it to be like play pause, which much less.
Is that in like settings? I haven't played around with that. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Welcome to our tech talk. Tom and Veronica. All right. Oh my God, he's still banging around stuff everywhere. All right. And 3, 2. Hey everyone, welcome to the Sword and Laser. I'm Veronica Belmont.
And I'm Tom Merritt.
Sword and Laser is a book club, but it's oh so much more. We bring you author interviews, news from the world of science fiction and fantasy, and of course, awesome discussions from fans just like you.
we are a musical now, so we'll be singing.
Sometimes
we'll read you quick burns and sometimes slow burns. Do you know there's a slow burns thread in Goodreads?
No.
Yeah, it was started last month. It's for people who want to just have discussions about the news. It's brilliant.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, like the more long form discussions. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. I like that. I did see that. I don't think I remembered that it was called Slow Burns, but that's a great idea. Once again, our listeners just shock and amaze me are better than us at organizing their conversations. But yeah, we're not drinking tonight, so I think it's fair to say we can jump right into the quick burns.
We have a winner, folks. Our March tournament is madly over, and A Master of Gin by P. Jelly Clark outvoted Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky, 59.3% to 40.7%. Also, congrats to Joyce of the prediction bracket. Joyce usually picks badly. Well, yeah, didn't this time.
Not this
Joyce
time.
won the bracket predictions with a score of 22. I think that might be perfect. Just edging out someone who did not title their brackets by 1 point. In fact, some people were asking me, like, can you see the email addresses? Because I don't know which bracket is mine because I didn't title it. So I guess you have to title your bracket and challenge. But I cannot see the email addresses either because they keep that from me. And also, once again, big thanks to Roberator for keeping everyone up to date on the progress throughout the tourney, for gathering all the nominations and all of that. And of course, to everyone, remember, the real winner is our reading list.
And the real loser, again, is Rivers of London, who I believe has lost 4 times.
Wow. I was trying to end on a positive, and you just, right through the Roberator's heart. Ow. Oh.
I didn't mean to. I'm sorry. That came out wrong. I didn't mean to.
No,
I forgot
the question
that's
now
Roberator's
is...
thing.
Are you going to pick Rivers of London in the future, Veronica?
I think I should. I think I think I have to now because that was kind of a dick thing to say. But yeah, as Tamahome says, Rivers of London is the Susan Lucci of Sword and Laser at this point. Yeah. Did she ever win? I think she did actually win eventually.
Did she?
So maybe I thought so. Maybe not. But regardless, I will pick Rivers of London. I've wanted to read it for a while, so I think it's only fair. I'm not sure when exactly. Maybe next. Who knows? Who's to say? But I am excited about this. Arma, it says, yes, she did eventually win. So, see? It is a happy ending after all.
Like Rivers of London.
Yay!
Someday.
Exactly. Super, super kudos, Rob, as always, for organizing and putting all of this together. This was a fun one, and Tom and I didn't even have to vote. It was very decisive.
We almost did. There was one matchup that came perilously close, but even that one I think ended up, Rob said the closest vote was by 4. So that one was within 2, might have even been within 1 at one point.
Oh my gosh.
And then by the end it widened up to 4.
Stressful.
Yeah.
All right, well, moving on. Paul says, regarding the 2021 Nebula Awards finalists, here's a quote from the official website. Author Martha Wells graciously declined her nomination as a novella finalist this year for Fugitive Telemetry, Murderbot Diaries, Book 6, published by Tor.com. Wells felt that the Murderbot Diaries series had already received incredible praise from her industry peers and wanted to open the floor to highlight other works within the community. I think that's amazing.
That is very nice of her. So part of me thinks, from the not Martha Wells side, that you shouldn't let people do this because it's like, hey, but if you're the best, you should still be the best. But from the Martha Wells side, totally can see the impulse and nothing but praise for her to be like, yeah, man, I got my laurels. I got my flowers. Let me just move out of the way. Let somebody else in. That's pretty cool. Yeah.
And there's so many great books out there. So I think that's awesome. And yeah, I mean, Murderbot is a new classic, a modern classic. In the sci-fi world, so I think
am watching a Korean drama called Law School because it's like the drama upon which Rise and Fall of the Century Moon is based on, which is one of the dramas that Murderbot wrote.
So you remember enough about this fictional drama?
No, I looked it up. I looked it up in the fandom wiki. I was like, okay, do we know what this is based on? And the wiki quoted Martha Wells saying, yeah, it's kind of related to this show. And I was like, okay, well, I don't want to watch that show because it's too many episodes. But I was like, is there a K-drama like it? And then I found Law School. And I was like, yeah, this is pretty much based on that. Yeah.
I thought it was backwards, that you were looking into Law School and you saw on their wiki that Martha Wells had based her book on the show. I was like, wow, that's like a really big coincidence. It makes more sense that you went the opposite way. That's pretty funny.
I went in search of it. Jan points out that Esquire has released their list of the best 50 fantasy novels of all time, including The City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty, Moon Witch Spider King by Marlon James, The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin, and they also put out a list of the 50 best science fiction novels of all time, from The Echo Wife by Sarah Gailey to 1Q84 by Haruki Murakami, Frankenstein by Mary Shelley at number 1. Lots of Sword and Laser picks there. Someone in the thread was like, well, they pretty clearly picked this to just engender discussion and clicks. And I'm like, yes, that every one of these kinds of lists, if you didn't know this already, they're always picked with that in mind. They're not scientifically trying to be accurate as to what the best 50 is. It's meant to engender discussion. I honestly don't have a problem with that, as long as they're decent lists and you can have a good discussion about them.
Yeah, and also clicks to affiliate links, which of which there are more than 50 on this page.
The only thing I don't like about the clicks is when they make you go through page by page to see all 50, which Esquire didn't do.
It's the worst. No, I was trying to remember the word for affiliate links, and so I just kept repeating clicks over and over.
They have just all 50 on one page.
Yes, they do. So that is nice. It's not a slideshow, which is the bane of everyone's existence on the internet. So as
and you
Jan
don't
mentioned,
have to click on the affiliate links.
You don't. You don't. Foundry Side is on there by Robert Jackson Bennett. That's awesome. That's one of my recent favorites for sure. Lots of Sword and Laser books on here. A few vaginal fantasy picks as well. Very cool. All right, moving on. We have another Jan post. He says that the Romantic Novelist Association, the RNA, has announced the winners for the 2022 Romantic Novel Awards, speaking of vaginal fantasy. And the awards include a category for, quote, Fantasy Romantic Novel Award, which this year goes to A Marvelous Light by Freya Marsk. Past winners were Echoes of the Rune by Christina Courtney, Queenie Malone's Paradise Hotel by Ruth Hogan, Living in the Past by Jane Lovering, The Other Us by Fiona Harper, and Max 17 by Kate Johnson. And you can check out all of these books and more over at romanticnovelistassociation.org. I read it like novel list. It's novelists. Romantic novelists. It's not a list of novels. Yeah.
Novelist. Do you know what you call it when someone brings a telegram from the Romantic Novelists Association?
A telegram from the Novelists Association.
Yeah. From the Romantic Novelists Association. It's messenger RNA.
I give up.
Hey, Jan has another one here from Locus Magazine. The SFWA, the Science Fiction and Fantasy Writers of America, is changing its name to the Science Fiction and Fantasy Writers Association. In a statement, the board of directors explains as the reason that a quarter of the 2,100 plus members we serve both live and work in non-U.S. countries and territories, and that SFWA will still be SFWA, but it'll more clearly be open to more creators of science fiction and fantasy, no matter what country they call home and what new dimensions and worlds they can imagine.
Oh, that's great. That's very inclusive. Oh no, we have a yanrology, a yantet.
Oh,
a yan. What does 4 posts from Jan mean?
A kwayang. Cool, Hayan.
So a quartet. So it's a quartet, right? If it's four things, so it's a
Yeah, I guess
yantet
yantet works.
A yantet.
Yeah.
Okay,
That works. Yeah. I was going to say, though, I like SFWA doing this because it also reminds me of, I've read plenty of books where they posit that NASA in the future starts to mean something else, not North American or national administration or whatever. It never meant North American. I don't know why I said that. But people like play with acronyms like, oh, it's still got the same acronym, but it means something else because technology has moved or society has moved. So SFWA actually doing that in real life. That's pretty cool.
What's the show on Netflix that Steve Carell is on?
Space Force.
Space Force. John Malkovich had a really fun... I'm going to ruin it because I can't remember it. He made a joke about NASA because, you know, they have this thing where they're like at odds with each other on the show.
Right.
If you can try to Google this really fast. It was like a different acronym for NASA. It was like nerd. Oh gosh, I can't think it. What it was. It was so funny. I laughed so hard, and now I can't find what it was. I can't remember what it was, but I'll think of it in like 2 years, and it'll be a really funny joke on a future Sword and Laser.
Yeah, and somebody will tell it to us on TV, you know, in the comments.
In the comments, yeah. But regardless, let's move on to Jan's next post. He says, via Smithsonian Magazine, the Tolkien estate has added lots of new unpublished art by J.R.R. Tolkien to their recently launched website archive, creating a, quote, lush painting of Middle-earth. The website includes manuscripts, letters, maps, art, and etc. for the interested.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, that's pretty. I like that.
Can you buy them?
Thank you.
Can you buy prints and stuff?
Whoa. You know, not everything is for sale, Veronica.
Some things can just be enjoyed.
But yes, these are for sale in the gift shop,
Yes,
I'm sure.
All these are in fact for sale. Cool.
I would guess. Yeah.
Neat. Very cool. All right. Well, thank you for submitting. Thank you, Jan, for submitting to the Quick Burns. And also, Paul.
Tamahome suggests it's a Jan home run because there were 4 if we had touch all the bases.
Okay. Like a Jan or a Grand Slam. Wouldn't that be a Grand Slam?
Well, a Jan home run, you know, a single you go to 1 base, double you go to 2. A Grand Slam would be 8, 4 bases and 4 runs. I don't know.
No, a Grand Slam is when you get 4 runs.
Runs.
You hit a home
no,
run.
I know, but you're also. But it depends on whether you're touching bases or runs. I was like, well, a Grand Slam could be 8 because then it's 4 bases and 4 runs.
No.
What's 5?
I respectfully disagree. Somewhat respectfully.
No, I'm not saying it is that. I'm just saying I don't know what to come up with for the, you know, we need a standards organization to weigh in.
We do. All right. Fair enough. It's like nerds of substandard intelligence. It's like something like that. It starts with nerds. Nerds are, dang it. Well, thank you to everyone who submitted to our Quick Burns this week. You can always do so over on goodreads.com. Look for the thread about Quick Burns, or you can post over on our Discord. We have an entire little channel for Quick Burns editions. So now it is time for Bury Your Sword, which is our feedback from the audience. Tom, you want to kick things off?
Yeah, Brian posted this in Quick Burns, but it's not news. However, it is funny. Brian wrote, vaguely fantasy of a sort related that seemed worth sharing from Twitter. @Kane says, The Lion King is about the brutal counter-coup of a monarchy to restore primogeniture after it was deposed by a popular leader supported by oppressed minorities forced to live in the elephant graveyard ghetto. If you supported Simba and thought Scar was a villain, you are a pawn of royalist propaganda and lèse-majesté.
Whoa. Okay. I would like to read the comments on that Twitter thread. Yeah, I'm going to have to click through and find that discussion thread. That sounds pretty funny.
One time when my niece was 3 years old, we were watching, I don't know if we were watching a clip from The Lion King or just listening to The Lion King, but she turned to me and said, I like Scar. He's not bad. Well,
is it just me or is Scar kind of hot? I mean, is it because Scar's Jeremy Irons, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
So there's that. And also a bad person. It's got the bad
boy
person attraction. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. That's what Trike was saying in the chat. Yeah, he's got that bad boy kind of vibe going. I don't like the whole killing children lion cub thing, though. That's pretty... Oh, Armut has a good comment. I wonder what they called Scar before he got the scar. Like, is his name like Jerry?
Yeah, was he named Scar and didn't have a scar, and then he got the scar, and people are like, "Wow, that's weird"? Or was he named like Steve?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, like Steve the Lion.
Mm-hmm.
Or
was he named
Lionel.
like Mascara?
But you wouldn't know that he was going to have a scar. Like, you can't just fit Scar into his name because
he had a name
lack
unrelated, but it had Scar in it. And then when he got the scar, they shortened it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they would just be like, oh, you have a scar now. We're going to call you Scar.
Well, sure.
Or maybe he got the scar before. Maybe they have some kind of like thing where they don't get their name until they're older, and so he got the scar when he was young enough that they were able to give him like his adult name.
I think his name was Carl.
Okay. You just stole that from the chat. I saw that.
Actually, I adapted Tamahome, who wrote Rascarl. Yeah.
Rascarl. Okay. Speaking of Trike, Trike has a dissertation on the linguistic history of crow and rooster available in the Goodreads thread for the last episode. It's pretty well done, but here's the conclusion. So all of that is to say that roosters crow and crows caw, but it derives from the same source. We've just put a little spin on each, or as they say in billiards, we put some English on it. I've been doing this for 5 hours. I'm going back to bed for a nap. Yeah, I went through the rabbit hole on that one. I went pretty deep on why roosters crow and whatever it is crows do, cawing, and how like all the different languages have like different versions of that sound. It's very interesting.
Yeah, and good work. That was a robust dissertation in there. So we'll have a link in the show notes if you want to read the whole thing. It's worth a read. Go check it out. Also, Prosecca says that Disney fandom claims that Scar was once named Taka, meaning waste or want in Swahili.
Oh, that's kind of sad. Yeah, this is again why he was maybe not actually the villain. He was obviously like kind of left behind in the family hierarchy and was feeling, he was lonely.
Yeah. It's a metaphor for post-World War I Germany.
So who's Franz Ferdinand in this case?
Well, good question.
It's
I was thinking about more post-World War I, not pre-World War. Well, Franz Ferdinand's the beginning.
Post. Okay.
This is post. This
Did you
is
say
Peace
post?
of
I'm
Versailles.
sorry.
Treaty of Versailles.
Okay.
More, yeah.
It's Pumbaa. Pumbaa's Franz Ferdinand.
Probably Pumbaa. Most likely. Yeah.
All right. Well, we have a pretty big book to wrap up here. I'm not sure how we're going to do it. Do you want to first talk about the kickoff for A Master of Jinn, and then we'll kind of like navigate the world of the Commonwealth for a
sure.
Indeterminate time, an amount of time.
Next episode, we will kick off A Master of Jinn by P. Jelly Clark.
Cool. So that was the kickoff. Okay. Got it. Haven't written up that book,
Actually, the book briefing is available on
Briefing.
Patreon. If you're a patron at the all but the bottom level, you got the book briefing already. And next, I figure we have so much to talk about with Pandora's Star that we should just dig right into it, and we can get to Master of Jinn next time.
Sounds good. Oh, excuse me. You're not boring me, I promise. I'm sorry. I saw that coming from a mile away. Let's first jump into a thread to kick things off from Aubrey, who said, I'm about 70% of the way through the book, and I just finished chapter 18. The way everything is coming together and taking shape is really incredible. I agree with other comments that the first 20% or so is a bit of a slog, but oh goodness, I think it's worth it. I'm usually an epic fantasy reader, so finding a similar pacing and style with various character POV in a sci-fi novel has been a lot of fun for me. I really just want to put this out there to chat more about the positive aspects of the book and critique it with others who are enjoying it and stuck with it. Yeah, I have to say, this of course is a spoilery conversation. So
I was going to say we should probably put the spoiler warning out right now. We may not spoil it in the very next breath, but we're going to get spoilery. So if you don't want to be spoiled on Pandora's Star, you may want to pause now. Okay.
The book ends with Ozzy falling off a giant waterfall. That's the cliffhanger. That was the thing that I was so mad about.
Yeah.
That
is also the thing that made both of us read Judas Unchained, which is longer than Pandora's Star. I just wanted to find out what happened to Ozzy.
I know. I was really mad. And, they left the whole invasion. All right, I'm getting ahead of myself here. So, yes, I agree that there was a bit of a slow start for this novel. But even while I was reading it, and I agree with other commenters out there who are like, what is the whole, the whole storyline with the rich girl who is hang gliding into the forest and has sex with a random dude that she meets that lives there and they wear kilts and what's that all about? And I have to say that even though I had a lot of those questions as these kind of different seemingly random storylines kicked off during my early reading of the book, I always had the sense that they were going to come together in a really cool way. And so I never got worried or stressed out about the kind of divergence of this, storyline that I felt was happening maybe in that early 20%. Because I could tell that this was just the beginning of a really strong world building and a really strong story that was going to net together at the end. Yeah. So I don't know if you agree, if you felt that the beginning was slow to you as well, or how did you feel the pacing was throughout the book?
This is a story to wander around in. Mm-hmm. It is, sometimes I've described 1Q84. I was it was like taking a bath. You're just enjoying the descriptions. This one's not to me so much about the descriptions as it is, here's an amazing world setting. And we're going to wander some characters through it. Pay attention, though, because what those characters do will be important later, even if it doesn't seem important right now. And by later, sometimes I mean Judas Unchained. Sometimes I mean very much later.
Yeah.
I feel like these really are just one book that the publisher
was this is too
decided
long.
to break up into two. But those worlds are fascinating. And that's my thing is if you just want great world building, Pandora's Star. You're going to get a good story. You're going to get decent characterization with varying effects depending on the character. But you're going to love the world. I'll be honest, for me, Ozzy was the only story I really cared about. Once he was off wandering the paths, I was interested in the world of the Morning Light Mountain. I was interested in how it worked. The war didn't really captivate me as much as the Ozzy story did. I was like, ooh, this is a mystery. I want to find out. What is he going to find? Where is he going to go? That was the most compelling story. But every world that he built, I was interested in. And that certainly kept me going because I'm like, all right, but how does this work? And where do they go? And why are they here? And why are they on this particular world? And he has dozens of worlds in these two books.
Yeah.
And I think you meet all of the worlds in the first book anyway.
That's so interesting you say that because I feel to me I had the least amount of connection with the worlds. I felt the worlds were... I like to hear about them, but I never felt attached to any of them in any specific kind of way. Yeah, I think that's an interesting perspective.
Tamahome says, I want to marry Paula Mayo, and I get that. Paula Mayo is a compelling character, for sure.
Oh, I would not want to marry Paula.
I don't know if I'd want to marry Paula, but
I found her
certainly
absolutely
a very
fascinating.
interesting character. Yeah, exactly.
I love her as a character, and I was super fascinated by her story and her background, and coming from a world where your job, essentially all of your interest in life is predetermined by your genetics. Like I found that fascinating, and like she is the best detective because that is what she is meant to do. What's up?
I wasn't that captivated with the mystery she was solving in the early part. I got more captivated when it became, who is the Starflyer? I was like, okay, let's find out. I don't want to say disappointed because that's too harsh. That's not how I felt. But I was like, oh, it's Morning Light Mountain. Okay. Like that seemed like I would have liked an even more surprising answer, but it was fine. It was fine. So yeah, I did like her. I was fascinated with her. And when she was trying to figure out who the Starflyer was, that was a pretty captivating storyline as well.
Right. Yeah, her coming, I think a number of characters kind of coming to terms with the fact, and I have to be careful because I am a quarter of the way through Judas Unchained, the second book, so I have to be careful about where one story ends and one story begins. But yeah, the kind of like unraveling or the slow discovery that came from this thing that was previously a myth or previously conspiracy theory, and now is revealing itself to be potentially true, especially when someone like Paula Mayo kind of gets on the case and is, starting to distrust people within the Commonwealth government. That was super, super cool. And also going back to an earlier discussion when we were talking about characters that felt like one-offs who later turn out to be super important, I think Dudley Bowes is the biggest example of that. Like he's in one of the earliest chapters, and it feels just like a setting, like an example of setting. Like there's this Dyson pear, and here's this, kind of random astronomer who discovers this phenomena, and I don't really feel like he's meant to come back. He felt like kind of like how in the beginning of a lot of shows, there's like one character who sees the thing and then like kicks off like whatever the storyline, but they're not really part of the story. I feel like it's kind of like a trope almost. I felt like that was him, but then he comes back in such a major way and is like a pivotal character. And is like, kind of unlikable in many ways, but you feel for him. You feel for the situation he's been put in, or, rather puts himself in. So yeah, I don't know. It was, I really enjoyed it. I mean, I'm obviously still reading it, so I would hope I would enjoy it. I'm not just reading it to find out what happened to Ozzy. And honestly, there hasn't been a lot of ground there in the second book so far. But
you'll get there. You'll get there.
Oh, I'm sure I will. Yeah.
I finished Judas Unchained.
Oh, you did? You finished it already?
I force marched myself through it. I listened at 3.5x at certain sections.
Right. Trike says the guy at the beginning of every Law and Order episode who finds the body gets his own space adventure. Totally. That's a really good way of describing Dudley Bowes.
Getting that back to that aspect, when they first brought him on, I thought, oh, okay, this is going to be one of our main characters, right? Because he's so pivotal. Then it became clear, oh no, he's the Law and Order guy, like you say.
Yeah.
Okay,
and then he comes
fine.
Back.
And then later you're like, oh, I guess he's going on the spaceship with him. Okay, cool.
My God.
And yeah.
That was kind of one of my favorite things, how he like kind of just forces himself by being like a minor celebrity and like just putting him out there and being like, of course, like, why wouldn't they bring me? I'm the guy who discovered it. Like, I'm a natural fit. And everybody's like, oh, do we have to invite Dudley? Ugh, do we have to bring him on?
And his name's Dudley.
PR said we have to. It's going to be a bad look if we don't. So I thought that cracked me up a lot. Yeah, what else? What else did you enjoy, not enjoy? There's so much ground to cover. Like, I don't even know where to start.
Well, we have other things in here. I didn't know if you wanted to include those first.
Yeah.
Sum up.
This was I can read this one from Harry. So there was some conversation around like the weird kind of way that this society, the Commonwealth, handles sex and sexuality. I'm sorry, this Waterloo is making me really burpy tonight. Hold on. Yay for mute buttons on the microphone. Some maybe outdated perspectives on sexuality. And I kind of tried to think about it like, with rejuvenation, it's kind of like people just have less inhibitions about sexuality. And
right. You were mentioning that on the last episode.
Yeah. But I thought Harry put it together kind of interestingly. He said, since I chimed in earlier on the quote ick factor, let me give it another try. I'm more than halfway now. Yeah, I get it. Future society, sexual liberation, near immortality releases old boundaries. Okay. It's not so much the presence of such stuff. It's ubiquitous in many genres. Although, yeah, some of the age differences are a bit skeevy. But it's not so much that as Hamilton's writing and the attitude it projects, intentionally or not. I feel like he's leering every time he presents sexual content. Take this random passage description of a woman from page 395. She had a very short leather skirt and a white blouse with a low-cut front showing off a huge cleavage. I mean, can't you just hear that last phrase spoken in a Homer Simpson voice in the same tone that Homer describes donuts? I mean, cleavage. I'd expect that from some 50s Jim Thompson paperback junk spy novel or such, but it feels out of place here. There's just something about his way of writing. Look, it's not a big deal, I think. Even I question my own take on it. I'm enjoying the book, the world building, and so on, Harry says.
Yeah, no, I think Harry's onto something because it's almost unfair to say of a woman because it depends on which character you're talking about. There are characters in this book who dress that way on purpose.
Right. Like Melanie. Melanie has... Yeah,
Melanie. If this is a description of Melanie, it's like, well, that's different than if this is a description of somebody new we're meeting for the first time. And
right.
This is, but that said, that is a male gaze written sentence.
Super. Yeah.
There is a way to rewrite that sentence to deliver exactly the same impression and information that won't hit Harry B that way. So I think he's right that it's not a big deal. You can still enjoy the book, but it's worth pointing at and going, let's pay attention to this.
Yeah, I'm definitely more aware of it, I think, after we discussed it the first time, which makes sense. But it did not bother me as a female reader, I guess, and someone who typically does have a lot of, is a high level of awareness about these kinds of conversations. But yeah, it's there. It's kind of hard to discount sometimes. But I agree with you. Melanie that's part of her character, for better or for worse. That's just, it's how she gets what she wants. She uses it when she wants to. Sometimes she doesn't. She does try to take herself more seriously later in the book and dress accordingly. So, character growth there for sure.
Yeah, I was thinking about this when I was listening to Judas Unchained too, because I was trying to be like Harry B, to be like, okay, what is it though? Because it's not like, oh, this is a horrible, example or anything. It's the lack of other perspectives, right? It's what's not around it to balance it out.
Yeah, we do get an actual sex scene in Judas Unchained. That was I don't think that happened in Pandora's Star.
Mm-hmm.
Described like pretty sexy. Sorry, go ahead.
Shamanad on Discord said, the way I've been explaining it to myself is it's like eating homemade chocolate chip walnut cookies, only the home chef cracked their own walnuts and some of the shells got in the cookies. So if you can eat around the bits of shell, the cookie itself is delicious. I love the detective elements, the espionage elements, and quite a lot of the alien elements, and I'm intrigued by his exploration of what effect regeneration capability would have on a society. I'm not sure his understanding of sociology and human communities is strong enough to make it a believable picture, but there's definitely some good questions and ideas in there.
I wish I could dig into that more. I want to go into that Discord thread and kind of probe a little bit more to understand what Chaminade found as kind of sticking points there, or questionable concepts of or understanding of sociology and kind of society building.
I get the sense too that Chaminade was not trying to damn with faint praise. If I can expand, and I'm speaking for myself, not Shamanab, but I would say the understanding of sociology and human communities is enough to make nice variable societies with the interesting questions and ideas. But if there was more understanding, maybe they would have been deeper and even more satisfying than they were. Yeah. As they were, they're sort of like, they're not wrong. Doesn't make the novel bad. It's, well, we're gonna have, it's like when you go to Star Trek and it's like, oh, here's the Nazi planet and here's the fish planet, and it's like they're not really believable, they're not deep, but they're useful for what they do. And I think that's true in Pandora's Star. These societies are useful for showing, like, okay, here's a libertarian planet and here's a backwoods
the kind
planet.
of hippie commune planet.
They're deeper than the Star Trek examples I give by far. But I think that's what Shamanab might be picking up on, is like, ooh, they're close enough that it wouldn't have been cool if they would have been like deep sociological examples of what really happens when this kind of society is attempted, which is raising the bar. Yeah. It's a tough call.
It's hard, I think, because if you do like really push the boundaries of like what really would a true libertarian planet look like? What would a true hippie commune planet look like? Because like the planet that Ranstown is on, for example, like kind of has that vibe. They have like an almost shamanistic like leader, like a very suave kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Charismatic leader. But I think that it's more realistic to say these planets were founded with an ideal, and then because people are people and they have like certain needs and certain requirements, they kind of start blanding out a little bit. They kind of start like earthifying themselves a little bit and still having some of the same problems and some of the same issues and some of the same, like, every planet's going to have a suburb. Every planet has to have, like, for the most part, an industrial area or some kind of area of commerce. So with the exception of like the galactic dynasties who have like their own home worlds that are like really just specifically for them, having their lush gardens, their lush, like their mansions and play places. But like some planets just try to bring other things in from other worlds. But for the most part, they want to like have some amount of sustainability in case the wormholes get cut off, for example. So they start to kind of in some ways feel similar. And that feels more realistic to me than saying they would stand very apart.
It's not even just that they would be apart. It's that there would be more complex elements of them, and not everything would work the way it's presented here. Maybe almost like maybe it's a shallow presentation of this type of society. But on the other hand, if you go deep on any one of these planets, you've got an entire novel, and this novel's already long. So in some ways, it's like, you know what? We just have to have shorthand and go, this is the libertarian planet. Okay. We could go deeper, but do you really need that? Because we got other things to do. And sometimes that's fine as a device. Yeah.
It's just, to me, it's like, okay, we still have like one ruling government. We now have this Navy, the Commonwealth Navy or Galactic Navy or whatever they're calling it. So even though these planets are self-sufficient in some ways and have their own governors or their own leaderships or what have you, they still feel a little homogenous because they're, for the most part, all human. They're
all the same culture. Yeah.
They're all, they have the same ruling bodies. They have the same travel systems that connect them. Ultimately, they're not that far apart in terms of travel time.
I just thought of something.
What's that?
If you, in the 1600s, wrote a science fiction novel about a country like the United States, and you were like, we've got the industrial states, and then we've got the agricultural states, and then we've got the plantation states, and we have the rugged states, people would be like, oh, come on, they're going to be more different than that. But and what made me think about it, what you were describing is like, well, they all came from Earth and they still have this federal government above them that they all participate in. I'm like, yeah, it's like Los Angeles. I mean, it's different than New York City, but it's not that different.
Right.
It's, it's not like the difference, between Baghdad and Paris in the 1400s would have been quite a bit different.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess, but even far away, like even thinking about far away and their experience of being like literally the last stop on the CST effectively, like Casimir, like he still understands a lot about the other worlds. Well, he becomes more educated later on. But they still speak the same language. They still understand like the Unisphere and like things like that. They still understand, even though they don't necessarily take part, it's still even closer in connection than what you were talking about between Paris and Baghdad in the 1600s or what have you. Yeah.
Well, I'm saying Paris and Baghdad in the 1600s, different culture, different religion, different language, hard to understand each other.
Yeah.
Los Angeles and New York in the 21st century, same language, same culture.
Yeah. So you're right.
Some differences, but we're getting more similar. Now extrapolate that to Pandora's Star. It's like they're even farther away, but they're going to be even more similar. Right.
Yeah.
So that's the gradient that I'm proposing is that
the weirdness.
The difference between these would be even less than the differences we have within the United States right now.
Totally. Gosh, we haven't even gotten into like the primes and Morning Light Mountain and all that stuff and like Wilson Kime and going into the, oh my gosh, there's a whole other
I think the
book
alien,
in here.
the primes and that almost got short shrift where it was like, so let's catch you up. Here's the history of the primes. I was like, whoa, now we're moving. This is fascinating. This is good stuff. And I will give Peter F. Hamilton full marks for not having the alien just be, another bipedal species that's like, oh, we're just like humans, but we have ridges on our nose. Like it's an entirely different evolution. The time he would have taken to make the planets be richer for humans, he put it into the primes. Because that is like a real, like thought out evolutionary process from beginning to end that ends up with an entirely alien mentality, entirely alien way of living. I was like, wow, that's genius. That was really good. And
it's so different that we don't really even begin to understand what's going on with Morning Light Mountain until, the Dudley Bowes kind of like merging of awareness into the prime headspace. But I have to say probably my favorite, the most exciting interaction for me in the whole book was the conversation between Morning Light Mountain and the SI. I thought that was like the coolest, like, oh my gosh, like, all right, the SI broke through. The SI is having a conversation with Morning Light Mountain. And even the SI is like, I got nothing. Like this guy just like
I may be different, but I'm still from humans. So yeah. This thing is totally out there. Like it doesn't, totally it has alien. Just completely different, like it cannot be reasoned with because it just has completely different objectives and needs and desires there. It has a different reason. And I think that was so fascinating is I understood, like chillingly understood Morning Light Mountain's perspective, which is like, no. Anything is a threat to me. I am all the people. I am all the motiles. I am not an I am we. We are me. And you need to be me or go away. Like, from where you sit, that makes sense. I get it. Yeah. So that's a fascinating kind of experience. And Melanie kind of working with the SI or the SI working through Melanie. Over in Randstown was like a super, super great scene, super interesting. As you said, that's really when, things picked up like when the ship got to the Dyson pair and then things like really took off, I think, during the battle for the 23. And that's kind of where things left off. That's kind of like,
that's where we end, is poor Ozzy falling off the side of a waterfall on his totally other storyline, where he goes wandering through the fairy forest and talks with elves that don't make sense and ends up on some kind of frozen world in some kind of like Noah's Ark of lost aliens who are just surviving and wandering through the forest paths. Yes, with Tochi, the alien, as Tamahome says. And
Tochi was another really good
great.
alien. Yeah.
Amazing.
And
Super great
I
alien.
love, not a spoiler for Judas Unchained, but I love that we will continue to learn about Tochi's species. Mm-hmm. I loved that.
Yeah, another species that is just completely different from humanoids and thinks of things in a totally different way. So yeah, I think that's, we can continue the conversation over on Goodreads and over in the Discord. Yeah. But I liked it. I did really like it. I thought the world building was great. I'm listening to the audiobooks. I read the book the first time and now I'm listening to the second book. In many ways it does remind me, did I already talk about that? About how this kind of reminds me of the other book that we read? The other one, the detective. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it does have the same narrator. But yes, the prefect. Thank you. I love live chat. Oh God, it's like my internet brain in person form, being able to, hive mind. It's like, yeah, I know you're the SI. I know you guys are all, or I'm Morning Light Mountain and you're all my motiles and you're all just pulling in information for me from all over the Unisphere. Thank you. And I think that wraps up our episode. Thank you so much for everyone who is watching. Our show is currently entirely funded by you, our patrons. Thank you so much to all the folks who back us. If you want to help support us, you can head over to patreon.com/swordandlaser.
You can also support the show by buying books through our links. We have links to Amazon and bookshop.org. And you can find a lot of the books we talk about and some of our favorites at swordandlaser.com/picks.
Send us an email, feedback@swordandlaser.com. We are on Instagram and Twitter @swordandlaser. And you can join in on all the discussions at goodreads.com/swordandlaser. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Wow, that was long.
52 minutes.
Yeah.
Next week on Yawn News. Slow burns. Should we call it slow burns? Slow burn?
Slow burns. Two words?
Slow burns. Yeah, 2 words. Is
Slow
it burn
burns.
or burns?
Slow burns is what the thread is called.
Okay.
We discuss our March Madness winner. Salute Martha Wells. And wrap up our copious thoughts about Pandora's star.
I mean, I could have talked way more.
What? Oh, yeah?
Yeah, about the... Oh, God. Somehow did your Chrome settings, all, reset today or recently by any chance?
No. What settings do you mean?
All my camera settings, all of my, screen share settings.
Oh, in Riverside, you mean?
No, in everything. I tried to use Google Meet today, and it wouldn't let me. I tried when I logged into Riverside earlier today, it wants me to, I can't screen share unless I quit and reopen. So I can't screen share today.
What?
Bummer.
That's annoying. Why is that the case?
Because it says Google Chrome will not be able to record the contents of your screen until it is quit. You must choose to quit Google Chrome now or do it on your own later.
And if you quit, the whole thing
let me try.
falls apart,
What
doesn't
if I don't? Let's see what happens if I just try to share. Do you see anything? No.
Did you stop the recording?
No.
Oh, we'll stop the record. Oh, well,
no.
But then the YouTube. Yeah,
I'm not going to restart Chrome. That's dumb.
No, I was thinking if you stopped the recording but kept streaming.
No, I'm going to have to
maybe it would work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Bummer. Annoying. What if I try? No. Can't do it. Oh, well. Sorry, folks. No, Adobe tutorial tonight. Sadly. You know, you guys are all super bummed. No masterclass. I'm going to have to... Let's see.
How do you spell motile? Is it motile?
I don't know. I think so. motile. I'm pretty sure. Yes.
I'll check. I only listened. I never read. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Immotiles and motiles.
Well, there's
yep.
both.
Right.
Yeah.
Any news or announcements? I'm looking forward to a Master of Gin.
Yeah, me too. It's been on my list for a while. Okay. He plays 3 on his ukulele.
What is that?
I'm singing Rafi. That's what I do now, Tom.
How is the little tyke?
Oh my god, he's so good.
Yay.
It's hilarious. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out. I don't know what's happening here. How do they do that? Oh, cool. It's like a gradient. It's a gradient.
On the floor. And you're editing, rendering?
Rendering like you've never rendered before.
So Friday, I'm attending the Podcast Hall of Fame Awards.
Ooh. What's that all about?
I'm introducing Molly Wood as she gets inducted.
For what?
To the Podcast Hall of Fame.
For what? But like for
being
what?
a
Just
podcaster?
for podcaster for always?
For her career.
Oh.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I'm not in the Podcasting Hall of Fame, but
That's good.
You know, that's fine.
Well,
Scott
me
Johnson
neither.
is.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he got in last year.
Oh. Well.
Mark Maron's going in this Friday too.
No good deed goes unpunished.
It's fine. Actually, this will be fun.
Yeah.
I
Where
haven't
is
seen
it?
Molly in real life. At the JW Marriott in downtown LA.
Oh. Nice.
Yeah. As the caissons go marching along. Roositer.
Oh man, I'm really annoyed that I can't remember what that joke was from that show. So good.
I actually remember when you said it, I was like, oh, I can picture him saying it. It was like a throwaway line.
Yeah,
right?
but it really stuck with me, and I thought it was so funny.
And it was really funny.
Yeah.
I agree. I thought, oh, that's really funny. I can't remember it either.
It was what's the name of the show again? Space Force. Space Force.
Space Force. I think this is going to sound what's it called when sacrilegious.
Mm-hmm.
And I almost said it on the show, so I'm not trying to hide it by saying it now.
Mm-hmm. What is it?
I think I liked the Great Northern Railroad book by Peter F. Hamilton that I read better than Pandora Star.
I don't think that's bad. Why do you think that's bad?
Well, because everyone agrees that Pandora Star is the bomb.
The bomb.
But I don't know. There was more of a detective story. It was more cohesive.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Pandora Star is more wide ranging, and so I think a lot of people like the wide ranging.
No, Tamahome, that's not it. It was like a joke on the acronym for NASA. Nerds of...
Did you remember it?
Yes. It was, oh my God. Oh my God, I just had it. Nerds. It was like... It was like Nerds of Substandard Ability, but it was like, but that's not A. So I can't, so it was like something like that. It was like...
Approaching?
No. It was very similar. It was something like that. Anyway, it was very funny. Cool story, Veronica.
Yeah. I like a railroad in space. And you do get that in Pandora Star.
You do get that. Is it the same world? Is it just like a different...
I don't think so. I think it's just he likes railroads in space.
Legit.
Yeah. Who doesn't?
All right. Well, that's my album art.
Did you put it in Discord?
I did.
In post-prod?
I did.
Where only I can see it? Oh, yeah, it's good. I like it.
Thanks. Cool. All right. That's a wrap.
I'm still searching for your quote.
Oh. I could post it on Twitter. I could post it on TikTok.
You like the TikTok.
I love TikTok.
Eileen does too.
Yeah. Eileen has a niche. I don't have a niche. I'm trying to figure out if I should carve out a niche and what that niche would be.
Yeah, she's really like doubled down on the whole K-drama, K-pop thing. It's working for her. She's enjoying it too.
Good. All right. Well, that's fine.
Okay.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Oh, nerds of average science ability. Nerds of average science ability.
Nemo for the win.
I feel like Nemo didn't comment at all this entire episode and just came out in the 11th hour. Like
the entire show, Nemo was just searching for that.
It's like waiting, biding their
Finally
time.
found it.
I love it. That's amazing. Good job.
I'm
You
glad
saved
we
the
were
day.
able to find Nemo.
Oh, I was really
reason to
worried
speak.
that you know how you send out the forklifts into the mind warehouse to find the things you can't remember. I felt like that forklift was never coming back.
It was
Going to be
gone.
lost
Yeah.
forever. Yeah. Nerds of average science ability. I need to I'm copying it and writing it down in a note so I can look back at it later and
Keep
not like
that.
forget it again.
Don't lose that.
Nerds of average science ability. Thank you. All right. What a great
That
note
was
to end
wonderful. Yeah, what a great night.
on. All right. Talk to y'all later. Bye.
Bye.